Hey guys, Armageddon Slayer here with Crush Kid Clyde for the kadcraft network. Hello, Crush.
Heyo. Yeah, just right now I'm putting in dirt, trying to trail some stuff. Gotta have the military tents, I don't know what they would be called, little compounds, like, places for these guys to bunk. I don't know, it's a factions town, it got to be protected.
So what do you
So
call
yeah.
the town?
Oh, the town, it's called Cole's Home, like Sherlock Holmes. It's just a little human pioneer town. They're still building some of the huts. It's gonna be depicted as having the fort under reconstruction. It's been abandoned for a while, so I'm gonna be building a crane, all types of fun stuff. I don't know, it's just a boom town. There's like way too much coal. It's really important in a thriving airship economy. So I figure that these guys, they're getting a massive influx of troops, they're getting a massive influx of people, like races that are friendly to humans and friendly to the races that are nice to humans. They're all coming together and trying to work together to either make a living for themselves. Like, we get a tavern, and I just made a little clock shop. We got a town hall. Is that one up on the mountain? It's that big triangular building. We're gonna have, right now I'm setting up an area for more soldier tents.
Well,
there's like quite a bit of soldiers.
So eventually, maybe we should use the brewery plugin.
Oh, definitely. That's gonna be where the tutorial is. There's gonna be a cellar specifically depicting all of that fun jazz. Well, I think.
don't really know any of the recipes myself.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was gonna make some for my tavern in Red Lotus.
Yeah.
But I'm just like that. I know how to make the barrels and.
I've seen a couple of the guys. They got like hidden laboratories.
Recipes.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen the faction Rome. No, that's the town. The town Rome has like its own brew.
Oh yeah.
I've seen like the hidden.
Is very familiar with the brewing.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be his thing.
He's used the plugin before. I would ask him to put together a tutorial for it at spawn, but I also know how extensive the plugin is.
Yeah, it's gonna need a bigger thing than just. That's why, the whole point of this town is to depict all of these tutorials, all of these expansive or demanding plugins, Like, we're going to have a hard enough time. Right now I'm building up this area. It's just going to be decoration for the Mage's Tower.
The simplest drink is like a cauldron, like a burning cauldron, wheat, water, sugar, and then
that's beer.
Cook it. Yeah, it is. You have to cook it for a certain amount of time, and if you overcook it, you burn it, you ruin it, it's gone.
Right.
It is very, very precise timing. The plugin is very demanding. The recipes are very extensive and exact. But people like that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it directly rewards you in a roleplay aspect.
The people who can brew set up taverns in their town, and they make a ton of money off of it in their town. And
yeah, because people can't even. It's really unique, and I think it adds something to the server.
Yeah, definitely.
There's other stuff too, but like I said, I haven't even gotten into it, and we're gonna have to do a little movecraft tutorial. It's gonna be a little bit different than the one at the bending spawn. We're gonna have to do.
Honestly. Tell them how to fix a broken down airship. It might be useful somewhere, but those new players, all they need is
how to move and where to move.
Yeah,
that's kind of an advanced thing.
The ocean and scoop out a trident. that's been shot down.
I've tried. I've totally tried doing that.
I know you have.
I just might be crazy. You know.
That's not going to be the first thing they do. They're going to spawn their merchant ship, and they're going to try to actually make a small air skiff, or just fly their merchant.
Right. That's,
that tutorial covers nothing about how to fly.
No, it doesn't. But it was what I asked. I'm glad Chicken Link busted that out. But it really is targeted more like... I would think I was going to go in and add a little bit more, being like, you need minimal redstone to fly and stuff like that. But you're right. But the rest of the spawn, we got some magic tutorials that we need to cover. I'm going to be trying to describe some of the kits. The storyline is going to be depictive of what's going on as like a... Wow, there's not really much room up here for tents now that I keep trying to jam stuff in here. I don't know. The main thing, that's important to get across is how to utilize factions, and how to utilize movecraft, and how to use the races and classes. Because a lot of the races and classes are unbeta tested. They're not really protected. That's not what I mean. They're not really... We don't know exactly what they do yet. They're started. They're all... Oh man, I don't even know what I'm doing. Mainly, I don't know how the invisibility works yet. I don't know how spells work yet. I want to see what the players like and dislike about it. And so far, all I gotten is that the high elves jump really, really high. And right now I think I'm a goblin. Right now I'm trying to change race. Which should be a function to all default players really easily. You should be able to do it whenever. Change race?
/ race change.
Yeah, that's what I thought it did. Oh no. And it's not right click, it's left click. Trying to get the... And it's because we're going to be releasing quite a few donated races and some other things like that. We have to see how these races are balanced. I figure we got a bunch of bad guys and a bunch of good guys, but I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We got the forest elf, demon, troll, undead, moon elf, dark elf, orc, barbarian, and goblin. 3 of those are human, or human variation. The human is the undead, which is a super magical variation, noble, and barbarian. The goblinoids are obviously goblin, orc, we got troll, we got some elves, we got the forest, dark, and moon elf. Later to be released are possibly, well for sure, are sun elves, which are going to have flight, limited flight, and fireball, or some kind of fiery spells. And then we got a race that I've been really wanting to do from the start. That sounds totally pansy, and pansy fits the word because it just means a flower, but it's like flower elves, just like druids, or not druids, they're called dryads. Anyway, I'm gonna pick goblin and see how that works, because I'm supposed to be able to detonate. Goblins are like little TNT toting, little people, but they're supposed to be tiny combatants, really hardcore into the PvP. They move faster, they have less health, but they have an ability called Explode. It's supposed to be like a creeper explosion, super something. I don't know. It sounded good. The Barbarian has an untested spell called Empower. I don't know what it does. It was supposed to be relative to their damage output, but if it isn't, that needs to change. The orcs are pretty big guys, so they get this magical ability.
Increases your magical ability.
Oh man, if that's the case, that might work for Barbarian. No, it might be perfect for that, you know. But actually, that might be perfect, you know, because a barbarian might pick shaman, but some of the fighter spells that might work for some of the fighter classes, all of them maybe. Like the savage class is supposed to get cripple, and if it can empower cripple, you just made it worth something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like knight, I was trying to make it like kind of sounds silly, but not a knight. Nobles, the other human variant, are supposed to have. They're supposed to be like well fed, so they get the when they eat they get more hearts. That was the vision, but I tried applying an ability so that they had something like that. I'm not exactly sure how it turned out, to be honest. Well, back on Orc. Orc has Mighty Throw. I hope that just like in PvP you just can knock people around. Get all fierce, even as a magic user. Somebody gets up on you and you're like battle mage or something, casting Thunderbolt or Zeus at them, and you just get knocked around or thrown around. Well, other races, we got the elves, which are kind of magical. We got some of the other races which aren't magical. They only have one spell. The kind of magical, like moon elves, they get natural water manipulation or ice manipulation abilities. Dark elves get silence and invisibility, I think,
Silence
or something.
Temporarily mute you in chat.
Yeah, so you can't even say, "Oh my gosh, there's somebody there." You literally shut them up. That's like, I love it. I've played so many different RPG games where you silence the dude and they still can run around and do stuff. They just can't cast magic or whatever. Verbal components to magic spells. Anyway, speaking of magic spells, we got so many. We have 3 archetypes of classes. We have sword wielders, bow wielders, and magic wielders. Bow wielders specifically are the assassin class, the sentry class, the archer, and do we have archer or is it just hunter? Anyway, I think it's just the hunter.
I think we made archer hunter. Because
so
archer types are archer, or you made ranger and hunter and assassin.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Those are the 3 archery classes.
Here, change. Like I said, we got all of the classes. We have sword wielder, which is savage, and warrior, and paladin. We have our magic wielders, which are druid, shaman, battle magus, and yeah, that's it. And then we have hunter, sentry, and assassin. Yep, that's about it. Yep, that's it.
And I'm not going
so
to
the hunter
is
is
down too much, so if you want to hear us ramble about the faction server, continue watching.
Yeah, exactly. we're not gonna. This is the long drawn out. So, like I said, we have the point of these classes is we need to beta test them still. Community needs to be a part of that, but otherwise, this is going to be us working on it to try to create a good PvP atmosphere. We want people, and I'm trying to balance classes. So classes don't give you very much health, but they all give you a little bit of health. They all give you access to armor. Leather is just a given. All kits are going to get leather. Every race is going to hopefully get a kit. Every class is going to hopefully get a kit. The only kit that I got right now is Goblin, which gives you a bazooka and some funny smelling mushrooms and stuff.
Okay.
Beautiful stuff.
Alright. And factions is not as different from the bending server as you might think. It is.
We have
really similar.
Quite a bit.
They both have Movecraft. They both have the brewery plugin. The
They both have jobs.
Yeah, they both have jobs plugin. The voting rewards.
Right now we're working on having the donations translate.
The voting rewards are global between them.
Yeah, exactly.
You may log on and you have 10 voting rewards waiting for you, just because you haven't played yet. But you voted.
That's always cool.
But then there's other things, like magic. It's not as far from bending as you might think.
And it gets pretty powerful stuff, you know. There's quite a bit at your disposal when it comes to the arcane arts.
Used every magic spell.
No, we're still definitely working with that. That's definitely a thing.
4 different types of wands. The book, the stick,
all being sold at spawn.
Yeah, the book, the stick, the blaze rod, the bone. I think that's all of them.
Yeah, I think so. The reason
to cycle through the magic spells you have, and you punch to cast it normally.
I'm going to be, after this little military outpost, going to be setting up the Mage's Tower. That's going to be interesting. After the Mage's Tower, I'm going to be trying to set up internal towns, houses and stuff. Right now, just because factions needs, what is it? No, well, never mind.
The biggest needs is players who want to get on. Really.
Yeah, and we can foster that kind of community. You know, it's just, I feel like that I haven't been really working on factions as much as it needs. It needs a lot of attention. It is a very angsty little adolescent creation. It needs effort and time, and you know, some people are putting in beautiful effort, and the communities are like that. They're making a DJ is working on a very nice, powerful town. You know, we need that kind of stuff.
The war and the town faction, the war and the town part of the servers, they're really not that different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, townie inherently is more pacifistic. Just like down to the plugin.
But it also,
you know, factions is uncaring. Yeah, exactly. You know, I really like the idea that it could make it makes global war. It's just, I don't know, factions you can get pretty personal. I played a couple factions games that, you know,
and
it's been pretty hard.
On the faction server, you can create troops, you can make soldiers.
And invade other people. You know, this isn't just a you versus the world. This is, we got working faction mobs. You know, you can make a powerful army, and as long as you're working hard, grinding, getting the income, doing whatever you gotta do, selling airships or whatever, you can, oh man, this is a perfect place for a tower too.
Next time you're on factions, if you have a faction with enough faction power, try /FM spawn archer.
Soon I'm going to be decorating the town with these faction mobs. We're going to have different, that's going to be, I guess that should be the point of
There's
these.
Titan, swordsman, mage, and those are the only 2 I can think of currently.
I thought there was archer too.
Yeah, the archer was the first one I said.
Oh, yeah, so it's like 4, you know, you don't really need much, but $500 a pop. We got leveled mobs, so
power.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it is? It's not money?
It's both.
Oh, okay. So, we got leveled mobs. My hope is that once this town is finished, the builders of the...
attempt to balance them over time.
Oh, yeah. Well, even overpowered gameplay, people learn how to balance through that. With spells like Fireball, I think, and the Zeus, which is incredibly destructive, I think we can manage against some overpowered mobs. That's the thing. Like, we have leveled mobs as well, so the farther you get from, I think, 0-0, no, it's the center of Colholm, the more dangerous these mobs are going to be. like exponentially. Flying away from spawn is inherently beneficial if you have a strong enough group, or you're strong enough by yourself that you can, make a little hidey hole. But I went 1v1 in survival mode against a zombie the other day, and that was pretty scary. I was very intimidated.
But then there also are custom enchants, which get you a lot farther than vanilla enchants.
Yeah, like we got Obsidian Guard, and Poisonous, and which is kind of like Thorns.
Last weekly update, so if you want to see a lot of the enchants, you can go there.
But with these to offset combat, with magic spells to offset combat, I think, as long as you're working together and you're not just going lone wolf, even if you're going lone wolf and you're sticking within the bounds that you can handle, I think that you as a community can handle the hardcore. But other than that, soon after this town is finished, I'm going to be expanding onto the next town and the next one. They might not be so permanent, because we need, as a community, we need a permanent place for our economy to be stable from. We got prices on everything. We learn how hard it is to get things. Well, no. That server build stuff, this build isn't going to be raidable,
I didn't say it was.
PvP is going to be off, infinite power is going to be on, so there's not really much point in it. The only players that are participating in this town have been building it. It's a community thing. It's not.
All I was mentioning is
the other ones.
It is a faction.
I would totally want.
People look for things to destroy, and if there are no player-built structures to raid, then they won't want to play.
There's that. I kind of had an idea for the towns and stuff. But what about that other structure plugin you were talking about earlier? We pre-make a bunch of them, and they just kind of naturally spawn. Because a large portion of this storyline is that it's kind of in an apocalypse. The straight up storyline is, well, great in the ancient days, there were, there were, all types of races of myth and legend. You had elves of every nature, and orcs and of every blood, and all these really, ancient ideals and races that, might not exist anymore, and they were all existing in fruition. The powers of creation were so powerful, and like magic, the arcane magic was great. And there was a period where the more selfish races that were, they wanted, the long and short of it was they wanted death to their enemies, and they wanted glory, or they wanted riches, or they wanted to vanquish their foes, or anything that could get them, and they all signed up for something that sold their time, like their time, literally, like the essence of their existence. During a very large war, dwarves and humans and some of the elves are going to war with, demons and orcs and barbarians, and the war is massive, and the gold is, and whatever, resources, land, it was all on the table. But they eventually, the war just stopped. It just, nothing, the barbarian tribes' lands were empty. Their huts were gone. The demons weren't in the Nether. There weren't orcs in the Arctic mountains or in the nomadic plains. There were no horse tribes. There were no enemies for these orcs or these dwarves and humans and elves. And eventually, they thought they were just gone. Some wizard must have wiped them out. defenses became decoration, weapons became ornamental, training became ritual. It wasn't about actual combat. It wasn't about protection. It was just a show. The generations and generations of these privileged races became inept in certain things that were once very necessary for your own good. The borders of the states were so relaxed because everything was peaceful, everything was happy and go lucky, and all the enemies that would ever have wanted to burn your village to the ground are gone. So these people get really used to this idea. One day, that all ends. After hundreds of years, countless generations over, to the point where even the long-lived elves and dwarves forgot what it was like. And all of a sudden these barbarians come back. All of a sudden these demons are back. Every single enemy that fell for the bribe, their time was, again, they came back into the world. They basically respawned. And they respawned to a world of squishy humans and with armor made of really pretty gold and stuff like that, and like airships. And so the goblins and they pirate some of these airships and they start rigging them with TNT and they start crashing them into other airships. The dwarves are like, ah! The orcs start running down for the mountains. The barbarian tribes start charging with them. The demons are ripping through the savannah sun and piercing through the deserts and finding these ancient places and attacking everyone. All of a sudden, entire civilizations, entire empires that have grown soft are wasted under a single couple day cycles. All of the races that weren't airborne were pretty much scorned from the planet. We had, at one point, there was a thriving airship community. All of these, the goblin stuff, they didn't see that in their time. But all of a sudden, now there's just, it's everywhere. So, it was World War for the dwarves and the humans. The dwarves, the less, the less mobile dwarves were slaughtered. The ones that hid to their forts, manned their defenses, were eventually overwhelmed. But the others that clinged to their airships, that threw their refugees aboard, Imperial class ships, were the ones that made it back to safe havens. A prime safe haven is Colholm, which is Spawn Town. This is a place where the raiders have been met with the warriors that have been fighting. People are coming here to try to make a new life from grief and madness. You have people that are just living as miners and bakers and little things. Like the MC Jobs kind of epitome. They just, it's it's a new start for a lot of the humans. The demons, on the other hand, I was going to be building them a fort that they could spawn in, because running around as a demon, doesn't really matter much in the game right now. But I hope to make it set up that faction loyalty or racial loyalty comes into play. So people, because there's already racial chat. There's already, I think you can't see it in the tabs anymore.
I could
Get off me,
set it
Skype.
up so that, say, only orcs could understand orcs. It would just look like grunts and moans to a human.
Well, if it was going to be like that, there'd be, I could do that. I could set up what races understand what, like dark elves. Dark Elves didn't get sucked into this out of time when that deal was struck. They were more xenophobic, or they weren't xenophobic. They weren't afraid. They were just secretive. They were making other deals, other pacts, like blood pacts of when they do return, what would happen. You know, they've kind of been shying away from the rest of the elven community. You know, and the forest elves and the sun elves and the moon elves, they all regret it. Their cousins are leaving them. It's kind of upsetting. So they would all understand each other, but demons would be able to understand orcs and vice versa, and night elves would be able to understand demons. Goblins would be able to understand orcs and stuff, but the trolls would be a pretty private race. The trolls were xenophobic. They were afraid of people. They're a very tribal society. They were the ones to develop the long rifle, the first sniper rifle that's going to be introduced in this game, is the carbine, and that is a racial weapon to them. They use it like the Sand People. You know, they're very, very afraid of outsiders, and they'll shoot them from a cliff away. You know, this happens. Don't mess with trolls. The trolls, they heal. They're supposed to regenerate stupid fast. Like, the only way... My hope is that they heal as much as fire would do damage to you. So if you catch them on fire, they don't take damage. But they stop regenerating, which is the whole point of it. So, you know, with that in mind, trolls need to be beta tested. Do you have any questions about any of the in particular races? Because mostly we have like a couple of the donator races are going to be focused on. I'm not going to even bring in the joke, the alien pack, but there's going to be the
Piercy has
C.
an idea for that.
There's going to be the C race.
Gun that shoots guardian beams.
Yeah, exactly, and we can make laser beams and stuff. Like I said, there's going to be the Ocean Realms pack, which is going to have Ocean Troll, Naga, which is a sea serpent, Atlanteans, and Coral Elves, which are going to be magical ocean elves. Another pack is going to be the Nether pack. It's going to include human variants called the Cursed. It's going to include devils and fallen angels. Then after that is going to be the Overrealms pack, which is going to have angel types. Deva, Plaintar, Nephilim, possibly, Archon. These are all weird exotic names, but they're, some Hebrew and some other stuff, other peeps that really were into angels. I was thinking about making a mobs pack, of like making a skelly person, and then Creeper Goot.
Do a couple of different videos on like information of classes and races and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And end this one off.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, we could do specifics.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
I'll be quiet. If you guys have any kind of questions specifically, post them in the comments and we'll get to them in the next
video. Be happy to
video.
get to them.
But this thing's already going to take several days to upload at this size, so...
Yeah. Might as well get to it.
I'm pretty sure this is like an hour already, so... Like, subscribe.
Yeah, exactly.